How many times would you have liked to be able to read other people's minds? What would it be like knowing exactly what they think at that moment or what they think of us? Reading people's thoughts, there is no point in hiding it from us, is one of the forbidden desires of all of us. How many times has it happened to you while you are in the company of someone to ask yourself, what is he thinking about me? Is he lying to me? Who knows if he is sincere? Thanks to the Zen story that you will hear shortly, you will understand that reading the minds of others is possible. And to do this, you don't need supernatural gifts or to be some sort of sorcerer, but some simple Buddhist advice that you will receive in the next few minutes. So stay until the end because, in addition to discovering how to read people's minds, we will reveal a moral that will deeply affect you and make you reflect. But before continuing, if you are not yet one of us, subscribe to the channel and activate notifications so that you are updated when we publish new content. In an ancient Buddhist monastery located among the green hills of Japan lived the elderly monk Tenzin. His wisdom and his power to understand people's thoughts were known throughout the country, and many turned to him for advice on their personal and spiritual growth. One day, a young monk named Ming joined the master in the monastery garden with the intention of understanding how he could read the minds of others. So, while the ancient cherry trees provided shade and smelled intensely, Ming turned to the monk and asked him with extreme respect, "Master Tenzin, I have heard many stories about you and your ability to understand people's thoughts without them speaking a word. Is this really possible?" Tenzin smiled and nodded. "Yes, it is possible, young Ming, but you must understand that this ability is not a supernatural gift, but something that can be learned with practice. Furthermore, it is not something that should be exploited to manipulate others and harm others, but to defend ourselves from those who want to harm us. And in some cases, even to help others. Think about the people we love. Sometimes they risk making mistakes, and if we are able to read their thoughts, we can help them in advance." Ming, visibly fascinated, asked Tenzin if he would teach him the secret of this extraordinary ability. The master, aware that the boy was one of the most promising monks in the monastery, agreed and began a long journey of teaching. "The first thing you have to do," he told the boy, "is learn to be a good observer. You have to learn to pick up on every detail in the body language of the people you interact with. You should know that reading the minds of others through the ability to observe is a delicate and profound practice typical of Zen wisdom." From that day on, Ming began to practice the art of observation. When he was with someone, he concentrated on catching every little movement, every nuance of expression on the face, every involuntary gesture. Furthermore, observing meant making an identikit of the person in front of him. How old he is, his level of education, the way he dresses. All the information you learn by carefully observing others, Tenzin continued during his lesson, helps you understand what a person is like, and therefore also how they think. Remember, my boy, that details are the key to revealing the secrets hidden in people's thoughts. The more details you learn through careful observation, the more you will be able to read their minds. Thanks to the monk's in-depth explanations, Ming understood that to become a good observer, he had to be able to read the subtle signals of nonverbal communication. It was essential, in fact, to ask the right questions to people in order to calibrate their emotional and physical reactions to build an initial profile based on accurate observations. Tenzin also explained to the young monk that most people have common concerns related to 3 areas of life: romantic relationships, money, and health. If you make general statements and questions on these issues, the master underlined, you will be able to use people's answers to understand what they really think on certain issues. Finally, Ming learned another technique from Tezin, firing off a set of generic statements in the hope that some of them might apply to your interlocutor. By calibrating people's reactions well, it was possible to understand which statements were correct for them, and consequently, what vision they had about certain topics. Let's give an example. Tezin said, "Do you want to know what someone thinks about an event that happened recently? Make generic statements on that topic in order to tease and provoke your interlocutor. You will see that he will not remain indifferent to what you have said. And you will see that, being struck by it, he will almost certainly have his say, revealing what he really thinks on that topic. And you, without much effort, will have read his deepest thoughts." As time passed, Ming became more and more skilled in the art of understanding people's thoughts. Having mastered perfectly how to read people's body language, and having studied every single teaching of the Tezin master, he had become a true expert in the art of reading other people's minds. However, there was one lesson from Master Tezin that stuck in Ming's mind more than any other. True wisdom does not lie in the ability to read the minds of others through body language and observation of movements of the eyes, said the elderly monk. True wisdom, he continued, is the ability to help them discover the truth within themselves, to discover what problems are making them feel bad that they don't even know about. In doing so, reading the minds of the people we love becomes a way to help them feel better, solve their problems, and find inner peace. One day, a young pilgrim approached Ming with sad eyes and asked him if he could help him find his path in life, as he was plagued by doubts and uncertainties about his destiny. Ming smiled gently and said, "Close your eyes and breathe deeply. Concentrate on your question and let me help you see the answer within you." The young pilgrim closed his eyes and followed Ming's instructions. The latter asked him a few more questions, opening a dialogue and creating a relationship made of understanding and empathy. After a while, thanks to the pilgrim's careful observation, Ming said, "The answer is already within you, young friend. You must find your way through compassion and service to others. You will be guided by the light of your heart." The young pilgrim opened his eyes, thanked Ming, and left with a sense of determination and hope. He had received the gift of inner wisdom from Ming, which he had learned from Tezin. Tezin, as time passed, looked with pride at the young monk he had trained. He had shared with him the deepest knowledge on how to read people's minds, and Ming had found his way to help others. Tezin knew that the key to using this power was to use it for the good of others and to help them find their way to the truth within. But what is the moral of this story? That true wisdom does not lie in the ability to read the thoughts of others with the sole purpose of knowing how they think. The most important thing when we learn to read inside others is to do so with the aim of helping them understand themselves in order to make them progress on their spiritual journey. And, as Ming had learned, reading people's minds can begin with careful observation of their body language, eye movements, their way of dressing, their level of culture. However, let's remember that knowing how to read the minds of others can be a gift, but also a responsibility. True wisdom lies in using this power not for one's own interests, but for the good of all.